Hello, I'm Derek Cameron, and I'd like to welcome you to this year's Dance Dialects. I'm here from West Mabou in Inverness County, and the reason I'm here is, and a lot of you might not be aware of this, Celtic Colours often partners with community groups across the island to make these events happen. I am a member of community group West Mabou Development Association, and that group owns and maintains West Mabou Courts and West Mabou Hall. And the West Mabou Hall is the site of one of the longest running square dance series on Cape Breton Island. That hall has hosted square dances for over 30 years. And of course, that's not the case right now. As we're all aware, things have been a little different in the last year and a half or so. So we haven't had any square dances last year and none this year. But we are the home of a very long-running square dance series on the island. So a few years back, we were at a meeting with Celtic Colours with other community groups, and we were discussing different ideas for what might make nice events. And my wife, Melody, said that she always wanted to try to create an event where it would showcase different styles of percussive dance and give each of the featured dancers an opportunity to talk about their dance journey, demonstrate their style, and perform. And also, she wanted the event to include some audience participation. So that came together. We worked with Celtic Colours, and Dance Dialects was formed. So that's why we're here today. Dance Dialects is all about showcasing different forms of percussive dance. And very happy today that we have Melody Cameron with us as the Cape Breton dancer, Nicole Deveau as an Acadian Cape Breton dancer, and the great Nic Gareiss, who has all kinds of things going on, and I'll leave that up to him to talk about that. We'll guest musicians, Kimberley, Fraser, and Allison de Groot. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Hello. So happy to be here. It's been a while since we hit the floor. And how nice it is to be here with a few of my friends and to be part of Celtic Colours again. Thanks to Kimberley Fraser. She's going to be my fiddler for my little piece here. So I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a Cape Breton step dancer for over 40 years. My dad was very into step dancing, and over the years he used to go to dances. And he was a singer. I'm not feeling too good these days, so I miss him. I miss the old hymn. It's been quite a year to be a step dancer when you cannot move around anymore, only in your house. So this year, I decided to step out of my box and teach online to touch some people out there, which was not in my comfort zone at all. But in the end, I was really happy to do it. I got to meet a whole lot of other people out there that I probably wouldn't have ever had to, that I would have not touched otherwise. Okay, so with my back history, I used to dance with my sister Kelly as the Warner sister back in the day. And we still do a little bit, but not as much as we used to. So I've kind of come to the forefront on my own to be able to do a little bit more dancing on stage and do teaching and do a little more travel. And I really enjoy that. So step dancing, as a Cape Breton step dancer, I enjoyed the journey. So as a child, my father used to love teaching me in his own way how to dance. And when I was a very wee child, he used to dance with me in his arms, just to quiet me, even if I was crying. So he used to waltz with me. And that would stop me from crying. It was really nice. I don't remember it, but obviously something stayed with me. I continued my journey to step dance. Over the years, I used to really enjoy going to Cape Breton square dances. And like Derek mentioned, we have a square dance in West Mabou that we haven't been able to attend for a couple of years now. But hopefully someday we'll get back at it. And some of those people that used to attend those square dances, I used to really get a lot of enjoyment being with. And some of those older generation dancers, like Don Roddy McDonald, was one of my square dance partners back then, and still is, from the age of 13 and on. So I used to really enjoy learning the Mabou feel of step dancing. It has such a great drive and feel, and that wonderful percussive feel that you get from learning that style. And in the dances, it's the best place to experience that. So I'm going to do a jig right now, some jig steps, and I'm going to get Kimberley to do a jig tune for me, and I'm going to dance some of those jig steps. Just a one, like a couple of turns on the jig. Okay. I'm going to put this down. A few jig steps. We don't do a whole lot of jig steps, only in the square dancing that we do those. And so there's a lot of lift and life in the jig steps. Next thing I'm going to do is a strathspey. I'm going to do a strathspey, some few strathspey steps, and I'm going to show you how they look.
With me?
Yeah, I'll do this.
Oh.
Just the strathspey. Sorry, Kimberley. I did one turn of the strathspey, but we usually dance to two. So when I do my full performance, we'll do the two. Okay, so the next thing is the reel steps. And that's a nice bouncy and fast feel to the music there. So we're going to do some reel steps. just wanted to give an example of each one of those, just to give you an idea on the feel and the look of it. So I'm going to do a whole routine now, stress being real, and hope you enjoy this.
Trying to get the tune in my head.
Thanks so much. So, from the way I'm reacting to the music, you can tell that it means a whole lot to me in the way I dance, where I come from, and who I share it with. I'd like to welcome Nicole Deveau to the stage, and so we're going to learn a little bit about the other part of the Cape Breton step dance from the Shetty Camp area. So, welcome, Nicole.
Bonjour. My name is Nicole, and I am from beautiful Chitican here on Cape Breton Island, and it's my pleasure to be here to talk about dancing. Dancing has been a part of my life now for 30 years. I started when I was 6 years old, and I remember, as it was yesterday, we met up with me and maybe 12, 15 of my friends for our first dance class with Joël Chesson. So Joël à Napoléon, as we know him in Chitican. And he had the patience of an angel, because to have 12, 15 little shufflers thinking that we already knew how to do it, right? So, and that's where it all started for me. And then we moved on to more difficult steps, and I really took a liking to it. And then where I saw that there was something to, you could grow with this was when we would go to our community concerts. It wasn't anything fancy, but the fact that there was a fiddler there playing the songs that I was dancing to with my instructor, it showed me that it wasn't just in the classroom that this was happening, it was in the community as well. So I remember there was a gentleman of Paul Gallant that came from PEI, and one day he says, "How would you like to start a dance troupe in Chitican?" And we had no idea what it was. So I was like, it involves dancing, I'm gonna go check it out. So we went to the meeting. We were only three girls at the meeting, and he said, if you can recruit your friends to come to the first rehearsal, and see what it is. Maybe we can put something together. So that's what we did. We went to school, told all our friends about it. All those little shufflers back when we were 6 years old showed up. Some of my friends thought they were going to a teen dance or something because they put the lipstick on and the short skirts and the high heels, but they were surprised once we got there. Anyhow, so he taught us what a dance troupe is, what we do, and we signed on for the new adventure. We put a group together for the International Dance Festival that was happening in Chitican that year, and that's where my eyes were opened up to a whole dance world. We saw groups from all over, and it wasn't just at the community hall now, so it was even bigger than just in Chitican. And after that, well, I just continued to love dancing, and I still do that today. I teach dance at my music school in Chitican, so you can come check me out. It's called Ravestan Music School. And I teach the very young and the not so young, but it's wonderful to see the importance of dance in my community. A small Acadian, French Acadian village, and the love of dance is obvious. Whether you go to the Doryman for a fiddle session on the Saturday afternoon or at the church party, there's probably going to be a dancer there if the fiddler is there. This being said, we are French Acadians, but to say that we dance the Acadian dance would not be true. We, as I mentioned, I took lessons with Joelle, who was taught by Mary Janet. So we as Acadian have been influenced by the communities surrounding us. And this is not just in Chitican, it happens wherever there's an Acadian village, because if you're not aware, our people were deported and were sent, some were sent back to France, some went to Quebec, Louisiana, other places in the Maritimes, and some stayed here. But our people weren't allowed to stick together and create their own community. They had to separate. So Chitican is surrounded by English-speaking communities who we love very much, but we tend to adopt customs and traditions from around as well, trying to keep our own Acadian traditions alive. So our dance style, if you look at the basic steps, they are very similar to what Melody just did and our neighboring communities. Where we do show some differences is in the style. And, you know, this goes with which different dancers, right? And different communities as well. If you go to L'Île Madame, the style, performance style there is different as well. If you go to La Baie Sainte-Marie, near Yarmouth, again, you'll find a different performance style. And then if you go to New Brunswick, to Quebec, and to Louisiana, well, then it's a whole new world there. But they are all Acadians dancing the style that's surrounding their communities. So it's a wonderful partage. It's great to exchange with people surrounding Chitican. And, you know, we were discussing the differences. Maybe because of the performance aspect of it, we were taught as to be as a group. So we were kind of trained to, you know, we can't, when you're dancing in a group, you try not to stand out. So maybe the arms are a little more rigid. We do have quite a bounce in our dancing, and I will demonstrate kind of a few of the steps that Melody did so you can kind of see the differences. But again, the difference is more in the performance than in the step itself. We have, though, since we have more, once we grew up dancing, we kind of tend to create our own steps, and then there's another style in those new steps that were created just recently. So if you're game, maybe I told you I only wanted reels, but maybe I'll add a strathspey to that if that's okay, because I saw Melody do some steps that I would like to, yeah. So, all right, I'll do a demonstration and enjoy.
So one strathspey played through twice.
Merci beaucoup. And I now invite my friend Nic to the stage.
Thank you so much. Wow, what a pleasure to be here. I was saying to Melody and Nicole, it's been almost 18 months since I've been in the company of my fellow dancers, and it feels like such a nice reunion. My name is Nic Gareiss. I'm originally from the Midwest of the United States, and it's really quite a pleasure to be here to share our different dance backgrounds as part of the Dance Dialects series. My style, as Derek mentioned, is it's pretty collaborative, and I often choose to work with musicians as almost like fellow dancers. I'm really interested in the way that the dancing the dancing you've seen today makes sound and blurs or queers or plays with the space between music and movement. And maybe the dancers get to be musicians, and then maybe also musicians get to be thought of as movers a little bit. I'm going to welcome, in a minute, my friend Allison de Groot, who's from Winnipeg originally, to come and play the banjo in a lot of the traditions that I grew up studying in the Midwest in the United States, and also in the Appalachian region of the United States. There's a rich fiddle tradition, but there's also a rich banjo tradition, and we're going to hear an example of that today with Allison's playing. Many people don't know or think about Michigan as a really rich place for percussive dancing. But actually, Michigan stands at the crossroads of a couple traditions. One, of course, our neighbors across Lake Michigan from Ontario. Some of my first percussive dance teachers, step dancers, came from Ontario. And then, of course, there's a really rich history, a long history of migration north to Michigan with the automotive industry. So dancers from the Appalachian region and really all parts of the country came north. So you have dancers from black tap dance traditions. You have dancers who came from the Appalachian region to find work in the industrialized Midwest. And then there's also a rich Irish community, mostly centered around Detroit, Michigan. So growing up in Michigan, attending events, going to folk festivals that my parents basically dragged me to, there was this kind of combination of influences, and those forms started to have a little bit of a dialogue in my body. Eventually, I became a kind of a little obsessed teenager, driving my parents nuts, asking them to drive me around to go to West Virginia, to take the overnight bus over to Quebec to study there with dancers, and eventually wound up living in Ireland, studying there. And it was while I was living in Ireland that I heard about the dancing of a person named Peggy McTaggart from Cork, who's famous in the Irish dancing world. But she would say to her students, there'll be no scrapers in our class. And if you know me, you know that if the line is here in the sand, I want to be just on this other side of that line. So her saying that just made me want to go like this all the time and brush my foot along the floor, which really opened up this whole world of new timbres and textures and helped me start to think about the floor as another kind of instrument. And as sort of a tool, a palette for collaboration with my fellow sound makers. So I'd love to invite Allison de Groot to come play, and I'll give us a little bit of sand here that I brought from Michigan. And maybe we'll play the Shirt Tail Boogie. This is a piece of music that comes from a musician named D. Fort Bailey, and also from Fred Cockram, I believe. So this is the Shirt Tail Boogie. That's the shirt tail boogie, and Allison de Groot playing the banjo from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Thank you so much. So in these forms that you've seen today, you've seen some step dancing from this incredible place, from Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. Maybe you're familiar with Irish step dancing or Appalachian flat footing, step dance from Quebec. These forms all make sound. There's this kind of symbiotic relationship between the floor and the shoes, between dancer and musician, between touch and time and listening and moving. And it also, I think, is a really rich place to create new things. So we'll play a new tune. This is a composition of Allison's. It's called Wellington. And it was an opportunity for us to use some of those vocabulary from these different dance traditions, maybe put them together in a little bit of a new way to try and find some new ideas. So this is Wellington. We'll play one last tune for you now. This is a classic old-time tune. It's called Ducks on the Hill Pond. It's one of the first tunes that Allison and I learned, and it's one of the first tunes that we played together. We both grew up going to folk festivals, Allison in Winnipeg and me in the Midwest, and so it feels really, really special to be at a festival like this, where we have the really rich opportunity to be among such great company, be among such great musicians, to share music and dance together, and it's really, really a treat to be able to share that with you today as well. So we'll leave you with Ducks on the Mill Pond and just say thank you so much once again. But don't go away. There might just be an opportunity for us all to do a little bit of dancing together, which I know we're all quite eager to do because we haven't been able to dance with anyone in such a long time. So thank you again so much for having us as part of Dance Dialects. Thank you to Derek and Melody and to Nicole and to Kimberley. Here is Ducks on the Mill Pond. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Dance Dialects. We have a very special treat for you now, a very spontaneous opportunity for dancers to respond to each other and to respond to beautiful music. Would you please welcome back to the front of the stage here, Melody Cameron, Nicole Deveau, Allison Groot, and Kimberley Fraser for a little bit of a dance to close us. Thank you again so much, and thanks to Dance Dialects and to Celtic Colors.
Just in closing, too, and I'd like to say a few words. I am so grateful that Nic and Nicole were able to do Dance Dialects with us, with me today. And by the looks of all of this, what's happened today, dancing is live and well. Yes. And it's alive and well. Woohoo! And just from watching you both, the styles are so beautiful, and it's a creative process in what we do. And I got a lot of great creative ideas today just from watching you both. So thank you so much. Thank you, Celtic Colors, and thank you to our musicians. Thank you for having us.